friends, welcome to sustainableprepping.com, your home for fear-free emergency preparedness on the internet. I'm Brecky, and today we are going to be talking about my 2021 emergency preparedness goals. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you're joining us, and if you're not, welcome back. I'm glad that you are here and that we are learning about emergency preparedness together. I invite you to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on any of my new content, and if you want more, we have an active Facebook group. I'm going to link it down below, and I would love to have you join the Sustainable Prepping Insiders. Kind of a mouthful. So it's January 2021 and we're all making all of our goals for the new year, and we are looking back on what worked in the past or didn't work in 2020, as the case may be, and making plans for 2021. And I wanted to touch on my top goals for 2021 when it comes to emergency preparedness. Now, I have a ton of goals that are completely unrelated to emergency preparedness, but emergency preparedness is a major part of my life. It's not just a part of my business and how I'm educating people online, but it's a part of how I go through my day. I believe in proactively looking at the future and planning ahead for as many possible emergencies as you can. This is a proactive lifestyle, and so I know that there are some specific areas that I would like to improve upon this year. I have 5 major goals. Now, these may change a little bit and evolve a little bit as the year goes on, but I do have 5, and these are the 5 major goals that I am working on specifically around my emergency preparedness for 2021. The first one is to round out 3 full months of long-term food storage. Now, I have quite a robust working pantry. I have a solid 6 weeks, I'd say, of a working pantry that includes my freezer, my refrigerator, and the pantry shelves we're constantly going through. I also have a really solid mid-tier pantry that has just about 3 months. I think there's a few little pieces here and there that I'm waiting to order to have my complete meal plan out for 3 months of my mid-tier food storage. And then I have my long-term food storage. So for me, long-term food storage is food storage that's sort of the last kind of the last gasp before total disaster. This is the stuff that you want to last 25, 30 years, that can sit on the shelf, and that's not going to be rotated. It's not going to be rotated annually. It's not going to be rotated every couple months. This is just going to sit on the shelves in good, cold, dry, dark environment and just be there. For my family, that means increasing our rice and legumes, particularly around black beans and lentils, which are our favorites, and chickpeas, black beans, chickpeas, and lentils, and increasing our volume. We just don't quite have enough since we had twin girls a year and a half ago, and so we need to increase the volume of what we have in storage. I also realize that we don't have enough of the essential sort of spices, so we need more salt, we need more sugar. Those two are absolutely essential, and I want to make sure I have a nice 3-month and then heading towards 6-month supply of all of those. And then I want to increase our oat supply. We don't currently stock any wheat, and the reason we don't is because one of my sons is gluten-free, and I'm trying to decide the best way forward as far as long-term planning. We don't really grind our own flour for bread today, and so the learning curve on something like that would be extremely high. So I want to get some more oats. Your oats can be blended into a flour that you can bake with, of course, and if you get certified gluten-free oats, they would be good for someone with celiac, like my son has. So we're trying to plan efficiently and effectively to round out our long-term food storage up to having 3 full months of those staple items. Now, again, I have a working pantry that's already rounded out, a midterm pantry that's basically rounded out, and this is just filling in those gaps of my long-term food storage. So that is my first goal. My second goal is to integrate freeze-dried foods into my everyday meal prep. Now, I've done this a little bit, particularly with vegetables, and my daughters absolutely love freeze-dried fruit, particularly strawberries and blueberries, but I want to start practicing, particularly with the proteins that I have that are freeze-dried, and get very comfortable using them, and also see how they react on our digestive systems. I'm a huge proponent that you should not store any foods that you don't eat. Don't store freeze-dried meals and never try them, because you might find that your body reacts very poorly to these freeze-dried meals, and you actually cause another crisis on top of whatever crisis you're trying to survive, because your body might reject them, if you know what I'm saying. As a family with at least 2 people who have very sensitive stomachs, I just am not here to test those waters. If I can avoid tempting fate, I'm going to. So I'd like to start integrating some of the freeze-dried meats into our sort of monthly rotation and start getting very comfortable cooking with a lot of the freeze-dried fruits and vegetables. Because I primarily stock ingredients rather than pre-prepared meals, I want to be able to be comfortable with them so that when a crisis happens, it's not this steep learning curve while I'm already stressed out. I'm already comfortable with cooking with them. Now, I am a Thrive Life consultant, so if you are looking at getting high quality freeze-dried foods, I'm gonna have a link to my Thrive Life page down below. You certainly don't have to buy freeze-dried foods or buy them from me, but I really like that Thrive Life offers organic options and the pantry can size, which is a lot smaller. It's a less of an investment, and it allows you to kind of open it up and use it as a trial to see what you like before you make a big investment by buying a number 10 can or a case of something. So I really appreciated that. I like the company. I don't love MLM structures, but I do really like the company. So I am a consultant with them if you're interested in getting your own freeze-dried stuff. And yes, I will make some videos on how to prepare freeze-dried meals, ingredients into your own meals so you can get more comfortable with them as well. I really believe in using your preps, and that includes your long-term food storage items. So my third goal is to expand our water storage. Y'all, if I am known for nothing else, I hope that you know me for saying you need water storage. Water storage isn't sexy. Water storage isn't fun, right? At least with food, you can have a meal plan and it can seem kind of exciting, and you can order cool freeze-dried items and it can just feel like you're really getting into prepping. Yeah. Water doesn't feel that way. Water often just feels like it's an annoying burden because water is heavy and it's bulky to store and you have to have a lot of it. But water is important. Water is the foundation of life, and you can survive for weeks without food, right? You can survive weeks with minimal food. You can survive about 3 days without water if you're lucky. So we really want to make sure we have our water preps in place. Now, we lost a big portion of our water preps when our basement flooded last year. In April, we had a water line break because of road construction in front of our house, and it flooded our entire basement, and we lost a ton of stuff, including a freezer. But we also lost a 55-gallon drum. And while we have a solid week's worth of water right now, I really want to double that, at least having 2 full weeks for the 6 of us that live here all the time, plus an additional 2 people in the event my in-laws are visiting when we have an emergency. So that's quite a lot of water storage. We are already working on that. I actually have a grocery order in to get some more water storage in place, but expanding our water storage to a minimum of 14 to 15 days for 8 people, and then I'd love to get us closer to 3 to 4 weeks of water as well. Big push, and the big goal is to recover basically the water storage that we lost. Goal number 4 is to build up my first aid skills. Now, the first 3 goals are very concrete. I will know that I've achieved a certain number of buckets of dried rice, for example. I will know I have achieved a certain amount of water storage, for example. But goal number 4 is much more abstract because it's building up my first aid knowledge. Now, I have a fair amount of basic CPR and first aid that I learned back in school, in undergrad, and then again in grad school, but I haven't been recertified for CPR in years, and that's something that I may not get certification based on whether or not vaccinations roll out. You know, I may not actually get certified, but I want to become more familiar with CPR. I want to go back over all my basic first aid skills, and then I want to kind of graduate up to that next level. I want to have better burn skills. I want to be able to set sprains at home, and I want to be able to treat all manner of minor level bronchial problems, stomach upsets, basically all the stuff that they would just write you a script for and send you home. I want to see how much of that I can take care of at home so we don't need to burden an already burdened medical community, because our local hospital is already full. They're at max capacity. They can't take anybody else. Now, I do have a deep interest in herbal medicine and herbal remedies. In fact, that's a huge interest of mine. I have a ton of books. I'm really into herbs. I love it. But the problem is I would need a lot of brain space to learn what I need to know to use them effectively. Herbal medicine is more preventative, and then you have to take a lot of a herb to have an effect, right? Herbal supplements aren't a one and done kind of thing. It's you gradually build up the herb in your system, and that's how you effectively change whatever's in your body. And that's cool and awesome. And the Homesteading Family channel has a lot of good information. Melissa K. Norris, I know, has a lot of great information on herbs, and eventually I want to get there. But right now, I want to focus on my OTC medical knowledge and first aid skills. So setting a sprain, even minorly setting a break until we can get to an emergency space, burn care and management, all that kind of stuff, so that I can be a stopgap until we can get to medical care, emergency medical care, or I can prevent us needing to get to that place through preventative medical knowledge. Jiving up my first aid skills is a huge goal of mine for this year. My brother is an Army medic, so I'm going to be consulting with him, and if you're in the Sustainable Preppers Insider group, we're going to talk to him hopefully in April, so stay tuned for that. But I'm going to be talking to him about what he recommends as far as good skills to focus on as a beginner, and what items in particular he would want us to have in our homes that would help make first aid at home better, would make it more effective, and would expand my treatment options. And don't worry, I'll be taking you all along with me as I learn about first aid and what I discover and what I add to my emergency prepping and why I'm adding it. So you will be along for that ride too. My fifth and final major goal is to continue to teach others about emergency preparedness. This has become kind of a passion of mine. I've always been really interested in emergency preparedness. Even back in high school, I was certified as a first responder to chemical and biological warfare. That's a long story I'll talk about another time, but I've been very, very interested in the ways in which communities respond to crisis. And while I took a long sabbatical from that as I was going to graduate school and starting my career and having a family, now that I have a family, I'm like, this was an interest, and it's still an interest, and I'm glad I had all those years of emergency preparedness that I was just living out to now share with all of you. So I want to keep bringing this education to you, and I want to keep reaching particularly moms. If you're not a mom, you're still welcome. Please know you have a place here, but I have a heart for moms, particularly moms who are not interested in the doom and gloom. They don't want all the apocalyptic stuff. They get easily freaked out. I get it. I was in that place not so many years ago myself. I wasn't a mom yet, but I just found myself overwhelmed by everyone who was telling me that the world was going to end tomorrow. And the world hasn't ended yet. It's hard and it's scary, and there are some very big and real concerns that are out there. But you can be prepared for them. You can look ahead and make a plan and know that while you can't control what other people do, you can control how your family lives, how you spend your money. Using your money is like voting with your dollars, and you can vote to be more secure, and you can vote to make your communities more secure as well. And so it is my hope that Sustainable Prepping, this channel, our insiders group, my newsletter, all of that is going to help educate you and encourage you to have your plans in place, to be proactive, and to look at 2021 as an opportunity to be calm and confident in a crisis. You can have more security. You can feel confident no matter what the world throws at you. And it's not because you're going to have the biggest bank account or the biggest house or the tallest fence. It's because you have a plan, and it's because you feel comfortable with all the things that you have for enacting that plan. It's because you've created a community that is supportive and encouraging. And so that is my gift to you, and that is my hope. And my fifth goal for 2021 is to continue to teach, to continue to bring people into this community, to continue to make emergency preparedness mainstream. This shouldn't be something relegated to the margins of conspiracy theorist preppers. It should be about every person in the United States, every mama, having that emergency preparedness plan. And I plan on bringing all the education you need to you this year so you can have those plans and have them in place and be ready. Just five feels manageable after the onslaught of 2020. 5 goals for 2021 feels reasonable. So that's what I'm planning. Comment down below and let me know, do you have any emergency preparedness goals? Tell me your top 3. What are your top 3 emergency preparedness goals for 2021? Let me know what you're doing to move the needle on those. That's a question we ask often in our emergency preparedness insiders group. What's you doing to move the needle? Because you can have lofty goals, but you gotta take actionable steps in order to get those goals accomplished. Don't forget, friends, to like this video, give it a big thumbs up. That lets me know this is the kind of content that you like to see, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our videos. You can check out my emergency checklist down below. I'm gonna have a link to our planning guide and the checklist if you want either of those. You can also join our Facebook group. It'll be linked down below. And until next time, bye.